Friends, colleagues and listeners, good morning. Got a little two-parter here today with a young colleague of the industry and a very, very smart young man, I must say, and a very likeable lad. So the person I'm talking about is Abedin Dula, and Abedin is the account manager for VRR, and they are a ULD manufacturer. So Abedin, lovely to see you again, sir.
Yeah, great seeing you again.
Yeah, no, always is, Abedin. I'm so pleased that we met, even though it was unusual circumstances with you putting your hand up. But on that, what I'd like to start with, Abedin, is, you put your hand up at the 2022 conference saying that you'd like to see, better representation from younger persons in the business and viewpoints, etc. And I totally agreed with you. And I said, right, lovely. Now you can do a section on the 2023 conference. So what I'd like to start with is, what were your expectations, from the 22 conference after you put your hand after you put your hand up and you were invited to come back for the 2023 one in Athens? What were your expectations? What did you really want to achieve?
So I think the main objective was to, so I put my hand up because we do want this to happen. So we do want younger representation in the industry. We want to attract talent. And I felt that at the moment, that was missing at the conference itself. Yeah. So when I put up my hands, I tried to kind of like make it known and perhaps move something so that we could drive that within the conference or even in the industry. And that's what happened. So I got the opportunity and yeah.
Good. And right. And a great opportunity, and fair play to you for putting your hand up. That's what a lot of people should be doing. But now, once you got that opportunity, what did you do between 2022 and the panel that you chaired at the 2023 conference? What did you do and why?
Yes. So basically, after I put my hand up, we did the interview together, of course, which was regarding this topic. So we explored together what is the talent attraction issue and what is going on in the industry. And I myself started to think that we're looking a lot at the problem, which made me think, how can we look at the solution as well?
Yeah.
And that led to another until kind of like the conference arrived, of course, and then we started to structure it with the other panelists as to what is the issue at hand, and how can we propose solutions rather than just focus on the issue itself and keep talking about that on and on again.
Yeah, no, I remember the discussions well, Abedin, and you're quite right. Everybody keeps talking at the moment about things that are wrong instead of offering up a solution and letting people give it a try and see if it makes things better. So the solutions and the outcomes are so important. So I totally agree with you there. Now, during the discussions with your fellow panelists, what was the general consensus from them as well? What were the biggest hurdles that they felt they needed to overcome?
So the main challenges are, how do we reach them mostly? Because the generations have shifted. So it's like, how can we reach them and how can we kind of like tailor to their needs? And how can we replicate this and how can we scale it across the board? Because we're not only looking for talent on the ground floor, but we're also looking for talent on many other positions. And this was kind of like the main topic. It is like, how can we get talent into our industry, but on a scalable way? So how can we make sure that it's across the whole board and not just one specific position or one specific area of the cargo industry?
Yeah, no, 100%. And it's about having, I was just wrote something down there that just came to my mind about new news. And it's important that new people into the industry are the ones who also appreciate the news, but also are influential in the news. So do you feel that, you got a lot of support? Like when we did the podcast and after the event, did you feel that you were getting a lot of support from people? Were people getting in touch with you and saying, we need to do more of this or we need to do more of that? Or why can't we have a go at this?
So in terms of initiatives, not. So this is why we probably started to talk, you and I, like, how can we start looking at solutions? Yeah. Because people did get in touch, but it was often like, oh, I agree with your viewpoints. These are the challenges that are ongoing, but I wasn't really hearing any solutions, let's say. I wasn't really hearing any initiatives of how we can solve this. And that's something that perhaps even now is still a bit lacking.
Yeah.
And that should probably be brought more into the attention into the industry.
Yeah. Okay. Exactly. And we've got a little initiative that's going to take place before the next year's conference. And that's obviously going to involve you and the rest of your fellow panelists, but we'll give an advice on that later on and nearer the time. So great. Now, just very, very quickly, on a personal note, what do you now want to do this year that's different?
So what I want to do this year is structure this. So I want to make this a more coherent story, and figure out myself what it really means, right? So now we know the issues. Now we know there is some initiatives out there. How can we combine those? So how can we make sure that it becomes one story, which we can then kind of like distribute to everybody, so that everybody kind of like gets inspired and starts taking out these actions to really ensure that we do attract talent and that we do retain our talent. So I think that's really an objective. How we're going to do that takes a bit of time, I think, but I think that's really my objective for this year.
Okay, good. And did you, I mean, obviously I could tell from the dynamics within the group, you know, you've got some really good people there who've got, you know, some really, really good ideas of what's necessary, you know, whether it comes from training or even, you know, introducing an industry apprenticeship that allows people to cross over into the different sectors so that they can then choose which sector they really want to, rather than, you know, have to decide within one particular organization. So it's going to take a lot of businesses, a lot of understanding and investment in their time to engage in a program like that, but I think it's well worth it.
Yeah.
And as far as training, or as far as you know, competencies, how do you think that area could be improved, Abedin? Because that was something that we were talking about as well. You know, it's one thing saying, I'd like to have an opportunity and I'd like to do this.
Yeah.
But if the core competencies aren't there, it makes it very difficult then to implement.
So I think what you were talking about earlier, the kind of like the cross contamination between the different jobs that people can actually do.
Yeah,
that would give that, because it does not only spark interest for people, so it does not only keep them engaged in the industry, but it also gives them different skills. And if you have more skills, you are naturally more attractive in the industry, which then also solves like many of the other issues that are ongoing in terms of pay and in terms of job security. So I think that if we allow people to be exposed to different areas of the business, that will give them definitely more skill and a kind of like a more engagement into the industry as well.
I agree. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, that's what people want to do. They want to increase or improve their personal asset value, and organisations need people to be more agile. And if you get the balance between the two, then, you know, hopefully then loyalty and remuneration, you know, are part of the same calculation. So yeah, no, it's definitely the right way to go. Now, Abedin, what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish there, and then I'm going to have another little session with you after we've spoken to your panelists, and just find out what your plans are now, you know, precisely for 2024. I know you said you want to structure things, but obviously we've spoken as well as about having a very clear storyline, an outline and a journey for anybody who also wants to get involved between now and next year.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
All right, lovely. Thanks for your time, Abedin. Really appreciate it, and we'll be speaking again very shortly. Thank you.
Great. Thank you.